Hey, this is GatorX, and today Nintendo put out an update to their quarterly financial release stuff. Now, normally I don't talk about this, and well, here I am, back with a video after a week, but point is, it's kind of neat information. Specifically, obviously, what we're going to be talking about today is are the numbers for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. So all of this information is on Nintendo's actual website. I'll try to link it below if I remember. But point is, it just gives the details for the sales of games so far. The best selling system on the Switch. The Switch itself currently has about like 20 million units out there. Something like that, 22 million give or take. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the best, biggest game on there with over 15 million units. Odyssey with 13. Smash Bros with 12, which is pretty crazy. This is one of the biggest games, and that just came out. Breath of the Wild with 11, and Let's Go with 10. Now, Let's Go obviously is an interesting game. Well, I always say interesting game when I mean, unpopular game, and there goes my light. I don't think it's going to stay on, but point is, I talked about this last week with Let's Go, and I love the reception to it. But the fact that it has, the fact that it has this much, and I don't think my light's going to stay on, but the fact that 10 million, that's pretty substantial. Now, it is a Pokemon game, and the Pokemon games do tend to sell a lot for Nintendo. Now, let's see. For the 3DS, we can try to pop over here because I believe, let's see. Yeah, Sun and Moon was 16 million, which of course that's, really big because that was one of the big games. Let's see. X and Y was also 16 million. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were 8 million. So far, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee has outsold, Ultra Sun and Moon in terms of the numbers that are, that have been out there. And, people were ragging on Ultra Sun and Moon for being a retread of Sun and Moon. So, it's just kind of interesting. Obviously, Ultra Sun and Moon sold like half of what Sun and Moon had. But it is interesting to see that Let's Go actually has 10 million when I think there was more negative reception to Let's Go than there was to Ultra Sun and Moon. So, just interesting information. But it makes sense that that Let's Go has more than Ultra Sun and Moon, but it even has more than Splatoon 2, which is one of the really good games on the Switch. Wow, even Mario Party is up there. But point is, with Let's Go doing so well, there was something that I talked about recently. I just brought it up briefly, saying that in an interview, just really offhandedly, Masada happened to say, who knows, maybe we'll do something in Johto if people like Let's Go, and people like Let's Go. Specifically, what he said in this random interview is that we might consider making a game in Johto in the style of Let's Go if people like these games. But, if people like this. And it didn't seem like anything was solid. And I've mentioned, in that video, which was a pretty good video, by the way, that it's more likely that, it's just something that he said. We're probably not going to be getting Let's Go Johto. We could potentially, I see the reason why we may get more Let's Go games, And Johto was obviously going to be the next one, but is it really going to happen? I think that mostly they're probably going to be sticking to their big games. Game Freak has gotten a lot larger, and they've been working on a lot more. We saw that they made Pokemon Quest, which was, one of the Pokemon spinoff games actually made by Game Freak. They're working on their other game called Town, and they have Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee here, obviously. And I think it's pretty obvious, of course, that they had separate teams working on Let's Go, and then one working on Generation 8, I believe, potentially. Obviously, there's a lot of crossover because they're pretty much the same games. They've got to function the same way. But yeah, they could do that, maybe have some people focus on the main big games, like Generation 8 and like the alternate versions for Generation 8, whatever those happen to be, or say like, Gen 4 remakes, while someone else works on Johto. So who knows? Maybe Let's Go games could be something that we'll see, but I don't necessarily see it happening because again, we already get the alternate versions and we already get the remakes. Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, and those are very tied into the main games of their generations, and they're a part of that generation, an extension of it. Let's Go, even though it is, technically Generation 7, it doesn't feel very connected to the rest of Generation 7. And even when Generation 8 comes out, if you, one of those people who believe that Let's Go is technically Generation 8, it's still probably not going to connect to Generation 8 very much. Potentially aside from like some Pokemon Bank support. But these numbers are interesting, and the numbers obviously don't lie. Ultimately, and the worst thing is I can't really say what it could potentially mean. But the fact is, these are big $60 games. There was an optional accessory, which I have mine here, the Pokeball Go Plus. It's a cool toy for like a day. But the point is, they made money. And this money is going to go into some other things. Like I said, as we see, Game Freak is already doing some other things. Pokemon Quest, their own spin-off game. Town, another RPG, which I don't even know if maybe how closely I should follow Town just because it's Game Freak. Maybe we'll see some Pokemon influence and maybe some Pokemon crossover in it. Who knows what we could potentially see from there, but it's good overall. Money for Game Freak means more games, more stuff. Most likely I'd like to see a lot of those resources put into Generation 8 on the Switch, coming up, but these numbers are cool. So Let's Go is the 5th best-selling game on the Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it is interesting. It is neat though to see Smash being the 3rd best-selling, coming out, even after Let's Go. There's a lot more hype obviously going into Smash than there was Let's Go, but Let's Go did its job. It was supposed to, get the casual people and some older fans. It drove away some older fans in a way, but I feel like it did its job. It was very similar to Pokemon Go. But the point is, I think a lot of people who really, really want Pokemon on the Switch, like the next big game on the Switch, either already had a Switch for other Nintendo stuff, got a Switch because of Let's Go, or are at least intrigued and will probably get a Switch later. But I definitely say, if you have the money, if you're a Nintendo fan, you should have a Switch. Definitely you should get one. Who am I to give big financial decisions to people? But point is, Pokemon is on the Switch, and it's pretty firmly here. As for the next big games, I think it's very possible that they could reach high up there. Let's see. Back again to the 3DS. Yeah, the biggest game on the 3DS was Mario Kart 7. It was a bundle or like a package deal for that. But after that is Pokemon X and Y, and then after that Pokemon Sun and Moon, and then after that Pokemon Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, because Pokemon really dominates the Nintendo handheld consoles. And again, I feel like it's kind of the fact that you sell the same game twice basically. But Pokemon is big. Pokemon dominates the handheld console. A hybrid console, handheld and home console. Obviously, we're going to see other games up here, but with Let's Go already being here, I definitely think there's potential for the Generation 8 games to get even higher, because, like, again, with all the Let's Go, whoever bought Let's Go, you could say, whether they're like casuals or whether they're like the nostalgia blind people, these are definitely people who are gonna get Generation 8 because they have a Switch, they like Pokemon, obviously they bought this, and they have a taste of it, they're gonna want more. So definitely I think we could see Generation 8 becoming, getting up there. By then, I think Smash might take the #1 spot eventually, and then maybe we could see Generation 8 taking the #2 spot, but I mean, who knows, again, with the Switch being a hybrid console. But anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Again, these are all numbers, just gibberish talk, not really solid predictions or anything, but who knows what it could mean for the future of Pokemon. I think definitely means good for the future Pokemon. And again, now going into February, which it's like February 1st now, it's January 31st, but definitely February, like I've mentioned in a few videos before, is a pretty big month for Pokemon in terms of what we could see coming forward. I'll definitely be around here to talk about whatever news we get, so, go ahead and subscribe, leave a like, show your support, leave a comment below, again, letting me know what you think we could potentially see this month and this year from Pokemon. Anyway, this has been GatorX. Have a nice day.